Which testing method is best for finding a clogged injector? Ohms testing, noid light test, flow test, pulse width modulation test. Great multiple choice question, but we have to understand about injectors. What's an injector, what does it do, and why do we have one? Well, let's take a look inside of an injector, and you can see right there, it's just a solenoid. It's going to allow the fuel to go into the engine when the computer drives it and opens it and allows that fuel to go through it. You can see there's a tip there where it actually atomizes the fuel. Then it comes up to the plunger, the big spring that holds it closed, and there's actually some windings or solenoid windings in there that's magnetically going to open and close it. And notice at the top there's also a little fuel filter. That's the last line of defense when it comes to an injector. Now I have one cut away right here for you so you can actually see it. So what's going on is you have these windings right here, and the windings is going to magnetically pull this pinto up and down, either open or closed, open or closed. And as it does that, this magnetic field creates a magnet and does that. So that's pretty cool with the injector and looking at the injector. Now, what happens when it goes, you can see right there, the computer's either going to ground it or power it. Usually they ground it on the ground side. This one's showing power, but what happens, it creates a magnetic field and pulls it up. Now, I said the computer does that. So I have a computer simulator here, and a good way to test an injector is to use a noid light. This is pretty cool. This is a little light that's going to flick when we go to test the injector. Now this would be the computer pulsing it. So I'm going to hit this. I have it set to 100 pulses, but notice how fast it pulses. Watch this. It's almost so fast you can't even see it. I'll do it one more time. It looks like it's on steady, but it's actually pulsing. How do I know that? Well, watch this. I'll take an injector and I'll do the same thing, and you can actually hear how fast it's pulsing. So that injector's opening and closing, and the computer's driving it. So that's pretty cool. You know, at least it's pulsing. That's one test. Another test you can do is just ohms of resistance. You can check those windings for resistance with an ohm meter and follow the manufacturer specification and make sure it's the right specification. Now, looking at the different injectors, we start right here with the throttle body. A throttle body has one or two injectors located on the top, kind of like a carburetor. Injected the fuel at the top all the way through the butterfly down into the engine. Then after that, we went to multi-port injection. I have one right here on the table. The multi-port injection has injectors put on it with a fuel rail. The fuel comes in, pressure regulator on the end where it exits, and then our injectors are right here. Notice there's O-rings on the injectors as well. Each one of those O-rings have to seal both in the intake manifold and up here on the injector rail. Then we go to direct injection. Now, direct injection is real cool. You see our Bosch direct injector pump right here, and then you have a direct injector located right here. That's going to go directly into the cylinder. A little bit different. Now, to check these things, you can check that pulse width modulation. This is pretty cool. The computer turns the injectors on and off. You see 5% on. Well, that's because there's a lot of fuel in the system, so it's not giving them very much. And then on the bottom, there's 90% on time. It has to either turn them on and off. The quicker it does that, the more accurate fuel delivery you're going to get. What kind of spray pattern do you want? Well, here's a good look at a spray pattern right here. You can see these two. They look pretty good. They're spraying the fuel. Really hard to tell with the glass and stuff there. This is a demo we have. And then over here, you see the one not really spraying so great. So that's an issue right there, that spray pattern. It's not going to atomize the fuel. It's not going to burn the fuel. We're going to have issues. So what are we looking for? Well, we're looking for the one all the way over here. You can see the nice spray pattern. Then you have an offset spray pattern, and then you start dripping fuel. It's not going to atomize it. We pressurize it, we spray it through the injector, we atomize it, bang, you get the big explosion. Now, to do a flow test, how do you check an injector? A stethoscope, you heard it ticking, that's wonderful. Ohms of resistance, you know it's got good windings, that's great too. But I really don't know if the fuel is flowing through that injector. So we run a flow test. How do we do that? Well, we're going to take a pressure gauge and we're going to hook up a pressure gauge. Now, depressurize the system, make sure it's all safe. Make sure you don't have any fuel leaks, and take your fuel pressure gauge and hook it up to your fuel rail. Now, you may not have a port like we had here. You may have to go in line in series with the fuel system, open it up, but you're going to install that gauge. Once you install that gauge, you're going to go ahead and cycle the key. When you cycle the key, you're going to bring that fuel pressure up. In a second, I'll show you that if fuel pressure goes up and it wants to hold. If that fuel pressure is dropping, you either have a check ball in the tank leaking or your pressure regulator stuck open. It's sticking nice and tight. The fuel pressure is good. So now I'm taking my simulator, I'm going to put it on the injector, and then I'm going to open up that injector, just like the computer would. Now watch the gauge. As you open up the injector, the fuel with that pressure should flow through the injector into the cylinder. Bam, there it goes. So you got a predetermined drop. You go to each one of the injectors. Let's just say, for example, drops 20, 20, 20, 20, 20. They're all flowing the same. Well, what if you did 20, 22, 20? Now you know that one's clogged. Or you did 20, 20, and it went all the way to 0, 20. Well, that one's spraying too much. So you can do a flow test and tell exactly what's going on with that injector. So our question says, which testing method is best for finding a clogged injector? Ohms testing? Well, that is, but which one is best? Noid light testing? That's good too. Pulse width modulation test? It's good to look at that, but really to find a clogged injector, you want to run a flow test. Well, now you know all about injectors, how they work, what happens when they're not working. This is going to be real helpful when you take that ASE A-8 engine performance exam.